Good morning, Latin 1 students. Thank you guys for checking in with me today. We're going to go over your assignment from yesterday, which was exercise C. Hopefully you tried harder in this. It's okay if it's not all perfect. You know, these sentences are kind of tricky, especially translating into Latin, but I'm going to walk you through each sentence today, give you the correct answers, but also explain them to you. Make sure, though, to come by my office hours if you need some additional help. That's very important because you might have a question that I don't quite get into here, but I'll try to be as thorough as I can. These sentences, of course, you're translating into Latin, so I'm going to tell you how I did it. And just remember a few things. Number one is that I translated these myself just like you. I don't have a teacher's edition of the book, so it could be a little mistake, something I missed. Actually, if that does happen, it'd be cool if you guys would let me know. Send me a message or come by my office hours. And also, there could be sometimes another little way you could translate something, like instead of saying et for and, you might say que for and, because those both mean and, right? So sometimes there's more than one option. I'll try to bring that up, but, just note that sometimes that could happen. So look at number one and compare this to what you did on your homework and see how you did. You can even pause this to kind of take your time and go read sentence without rushing. The first one says, the books of the great poet please my brother well. So for this first one, I put libri for books because I made it nominative. It's the subject. This word is second declension. The books of the great poet should be genitive because that's possessive. So poetae magni. Notice how these two words agree, but they don't have the same ending because this word's a pain word. So that's the genitive, and that's the genitive masculine because poet is masculine. Now, meum fratrem, that's accusative because the books please my brothers, the direct object of the verb, so I made it accusative. Well is an adverb, so bene is the adverb, pleased him well. And then finally, what do you do with the verb? The books pleased, please is the direct object. Please is the perfect tense. So you need to make that perfect tense. So delectaverunt is the perfect tense of delecto. By the way, delecto is one of our verbs. It's our only verb actually from this chapter. So you want to make sure you've studied that, delecto, to please. Now, number two is Marcus is the leader of many soldiers. Again, compare this one to yours. See how you did. Marcus is the subject, so we made him nominative. Marcus. Marcus es dux. Now, notice how dux is also nominative, and so dux is the predicate nominative because it's following a linking verb here. Okay, Marcus es dux. This is the predicate nominative. It's the noun following a linking verb. Okay, and then finally, of many soldiers would be genitive because it's showing possession. So the genitive would be multorum militum is the genitive. Number three is the consul sisters. We're looking at many broad fields. And for this one, I put sorores consulis multos et latos agro spectabant. Okay, so the sisters is the subject. I made them nominative, sorores. So it's a third declension word from this chapter. But then they're his sisters, the consuls. So that makes that word possessive. Notice how I put consulis in the genitive singular because it's possessive. The many broad fields are the direct object, so I put multos et latos agros. Those are all accusative, because that's the direct object. And notice how many broad fields. In Latin, we put et in between those two adjectives, many and broad. I know in English we don't say it like that, but that's just a tiny Latin detail. And then finally, the sisters were looking. So that's going to be the imperfect tense. You should know all six tenses by now. And so this is spectabant, the imperfect tense sign. Okay, let's see if you did four okay. Number four is Lucius called his brothers and sisters from the wide forest into the town. Anytime they put something in parentheses, it's meant to tell you that you don't actually need to translate it, but it's kind of implied. We don't know an exact word here that would mean his in this way. So you shouldn't have had to actually translate that word specifically, but Lucius should be the subject, so you leave him nominative. That would be Lucius. And then he's calling his brothers and sisters, so they're the direct object. They should both be accusative. Notice how I have fratres et sorores here. Those are both accusative. And then all we have is two prepositional phrases. From the wide forest would be e lata silva. Now there's a few words that mean from. So you might have had a lata silva, or even de means from. There's a few words you can use there. I just happen to use e. And then finally, into the town. Remember, when you want in to mean into, it's followed by the accusative, so in opinum. And then the verb is he called his brothers and sisters, so that's perfect tense. Vocavit is the perfect tense of voco. Number five, how'd you do with number five? The general used to fight in battle with his soldiers. So this one has our new word for general, which is from this current chapter, which is imperator. And then in proelio, is in the battle. That's an ablative following in. And then with the soldiers, cum is the preposition that always takes the ablative after it. So that's why soldiers is militibus, which is the ablative plural. And then finally, the verb is he used to fight. Used to denotes imperfect tense. And so that's why I did pugnabat. Okay. All right. What was number 6 about? People used to give the military power to the consuls. So for this one, I put populus imperium consulibus dabat. The people is populus. We learned that word not long ago. Used to give is imperfect, so dabat. That's the imperfect tense sign. There's a little note here. In English, this sounds like a plural thing, doesn't it? The people did something. It sounds like a bunch of people. Just there's differences sometimes between singulars and plurals in different languages. In Latin, the word populus, people, is singular, even though it's referring to like a bunch of people. It's more of like a collective noun. So I had to make the verb singular because the subject is singular. Okay. The military power is the direct object, so that would be imperium, and that's what you see here. That's accusative. That word's second declension, by the way, even though it's in this chapter, it's second declension. And then finally, if you're giving something to the consuls, they're the indirect object, and that always means dative in Latin. So I made the consuls dative, which is consulibus. Consulibus is the dative plural. Number 7, where was the consul's father? This is a question, so it needs to start with an interrogative word. In this case, it's ubi, means where. You don't need ne, because ubi is an interrogative word to begin with, so it doesn't have to be ended with ne. Now, the father is the subject of the sentence, so pater, I made him nominative. And then consul's father denotes possession, so that's always genitive, so consulis. And where was, the verb is was, which is erat. For was, you could have also put fuit, which is the perfect tense of soon. You know, sometimes there's more than one option to get something correct. Okay, so ubi pater consulis erat. Number 8, the teacher gave his little sister beautiful gifts. For this one, I put magister, the teacher is nominative. And then be careful on this one, because some of you might have made little sister accusative. Maybe, maybe not. But it's not the little sister that's the direct object. You're not giving the little sister. You're not picking her up and delivering her to someone. But rather, it's the gifts that is the direct object. So gift should be accusative, and dona pulchra. That's the accusative plural here. Now, what does that make little sister? If she's not a direct object, she's the indirect object. Why is that? Because she's receiving the gifts. She's receiving the direct object. So the indirect object, the sister, goes in the dative. Sorori parwai is the dative of little sister. You want to be very careful you got these two words right. Look how they're not quite the same. That's because sorori, that's the dative of the third declension, but this word for small or little is first declension, feminine, right? So parwai sorori, those do agree with each other, but they don't have the exact same ending because they're from different declensions. And then finally, the verb is the teacher gave. So that's dedit. I used the perfect tense of do there. Okay. So look at that one, see what you might have missed or what you had a question on. Number 9, we shall soon sail to the kingdom of the great king. I started with the verb for this one. I put navegabimus. I picked the future tense because that's exactly what this is. Future tense navegabimus. Soon is mox. That's actually from this chapter. And then finally, to the kingdom of the great king. Now the word ad takes the accusative. So notice how regnum is in the accusative. Ad regnum. And then right in the middle of the preposition, I put of the great king, which is genitive because it's possessive. So regis magni. Again, these two words are both genitive, masculine, singular, but they're for different declensions. That's why the endings aren't identical. They do agree, though. And then the last one, let's see how you guys did. Number 10, the boys were praising their fathers and mothers. So for this one, I put pueri patres matres laudabant. Now for this one, I actually notice a little error, so I'm going to let you guys think about if you see it real quick. Just something I forgot to put, but you guys can, I'll tell you it right now. So the boys are pueri, the nominative plural. Patres matres. I put these both accusative because the boys are praising them, so they should both be accusative. They're both the direct object. Now, what did I miss? You're probably saying to yourself the word and. I did miss that. So it should either be patres et matres or patres matresque. Those are two ways to say and. So just a little correction there. And then finally, the boys were praising. That would be laudabant. Okay, laudabant. That's imperfect, and I use the imperfect tense sign. Okay, so hopefully this hearing from me kind of personally helps you go over this and see what you did right and wrong. Of course, there still might be a question you have as you go along here, and I would want you to come by my office hours. I've enjoyed talking to some of you guys in my office hours. Some of you have been dropping by, asking me questions, or just say hi. I really like that because I don't get to see you every day in school like I usually do. So pop by to ask me about your homework or just to ask me something about the quiz or just to say hi also. Okay. We'll be having our first quiz on Friday, or our first online quiz, I should say. But you should know it shouldn't look too different from the quizzes we take in class. It's going to be multiple choice, and it'll be similar to how I ask questions in class. So I'm going to try to make it like not drastically different because I don't want it to be a whole new thing for you guys to worry about. So it's going to be very similar. Obviously, you'll just be taking it on your computer, kind of, in your room, wherever you're doing these things, kind of on your honor rather than the classroom with me. And I trust you guys to do that. Okay. So I'll give you guys some practice and some time to study the next couple of days until we get ready for the test. So make sure to check out our on-campus page for more practice, maybe a vocabulary exercise, and make sure that you're studying your vocab on your own, because vocab, the third declension vocab especially, will be a crucial part of the quiz. Okay. So I'll be back in with you guys tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and come into my office hours any day. The quiz will be on Friday, so you come, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, any of those days to talk to me before you take the quiz. Okay. Hope you guys are doing very well, and I'll talk to you soon.